What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of FTB Infinity on the HermitCraft server. Yeah, guys, welcome back. So, I've been doing a lot of stuff off camera. I've been playing, I've been having a good time, just getting stuff done. A lot of little things need to be done around here. So, back behind me, there's a slime island. And before we get to that slime island, there's an angel block. Now, this angel block right here, I have set, this is going to be the center point of another dome. Another one of those guys. So the idea is we're going to expand out over here. We're making another dome. That way we can have an intersection. So we'll have like an area behind me, both directions. Kind of like how we have our AE system and our power plant over there. Yeah, we'll have two more spots over here. And then we'll have a third spot going out that way towards the slime island, which are probably going to get removed actually. But yeah, we're going to keep expanding out, making different areas, different rooms for all the different things. So we got that going. Back behind the dome over here, I've actually started. So I've made another dome, just like the one that's right below me right now. Yeah, this thing is exactly the same. So this is going to allow us to expand out, make a few more rooms like I was saying, you know, just have more room for more buildings and stuff. So yeah, that's one of the things I've been working on. It's a lot of block placing and a lot of, you know, placing the cobblestone using the resonant exchanger and all that stuff for the builder's guide. Yeah, lots of fun, lots of fun. So, back over here at our AE area, let's actually stop flying backwards. It's too slow. Let's get back in this mode. So over here in the AE area, I've made a few changes here. I put in the handrails, I put in the white carpenter's block so it matches everything else. I have put in AutoCrafters here, so we got 6 sets of them, which is awesome. These AutoCrafters have been upgraded to 64K crafting storage, which might be overkill, I don't know. I'm also thinking it might be better to have all of these crafting storage and code processors as one big multi-block structure. That way it only uses up one channel. The way it's set up right now, these use one channel, and then each one of these interfaces uses a channel. So we got 6 interfaces plus that, so that's 7 channels per auto-crafting thing. I don't know. It might be better just to have one big multi-block, but this looks kind of cool. Like I said, this is the way I saw the gyms have his auto-crafting stuff set up, and I kind of like the way that looks, so I'm kind of borrowing the design. Okay, so all the auto-crafting stuff is set up. I have removed our temporary one up there, and it is down here now. So this interface right here does contain all of our different storage component patterns. And with it set like this, with 3 of these tall, this guy right here in the center can talk to the one above, below, and side to side molecular assemblers. So it can actually craft, like if I tell it to do a 64K, it can craft like 3 of the components on one of these, and it can put those together in a third one while it's crafting the next set. So yeah, it has access to craft 4 items at once, which is pretty awesome. So let's see, what else have I done around here? I've done quite a lot of stuff. Yeah, I've been using our auto cell processor, or I guess our auto... What are those? Are those processors? Processor? I don't know. Anyway, I've been using this guy quite a bit, making a whole bunch of AE processors. I think we're going to end up moving this thing and probably setting it into the wall over here or something. Similar design to the way this is set up. I think this looks really cool. The way it's set up right now does not look very cool. So we might inset it into the wall, mold it kind of like this, remove this bank of drives, or maybe even these 2 banks of drives, and leave the rest of them over this way. I did make some more 64Ks, which I have in here. So yeah, we got quite a bit of those. We got 3 of these drives full of 64s. Let's see, what else? Crystal growth accelerators over here. This is not the permanent setup, but I did hook it up to an on-off switch. So you can see they're off. There's no lightning or anything like that around these guys until I flip this lever. And then we get the little sparkly lightning stuff happening. So yeah, we finally have a way to turn this on and off without breaking a cable, which is pretty awesome. It's a very simple setup down here. I'm just using some of the MFR RedNet cable. It's pulling the power out of this basalt block right there. And then down below, I have an ME toggle bus. So by default, the ME toggle bus doesn't let anything go through it until it gets a redstone signal. And then it's like all this is connected. Without a redstone signal, it's like you're missing a cable right here or something. Anyway, so yeah, that's all hooked up. And yeah, that's really, really cool. So in my inventory, I got a bunch of stuff for what I want to work on today. And what is it that I want to work on today? Well, I want to look at making a big reactor turbine. Are these chunks not loaded? Yeah, they're not loaded. I'm gonna have to relog or something. But anyway, I want to make a big reactor turbine. Actually, we're gonna probably make a few turbines. So last episode, I asked you guys to show me some designs where turbines are making more power than this big reactor. This guy right here makes about 41,000 RF a tick. What I didn't realize at the time is that one of these reactors that are making steam can power like 6 or 7 turbines. I had no idea. And each turbine, the design that I'm going to use, does something like 24,000 RF a tick. So yeah, 24,000 times 6 is slightly more than 40,000 RF a tick. But yeah, it does take a bit of resources. So I got some stuff together to make this happen. We're just going to set up one today, and we will probably set up more than one when I get the resources. Actually, we might set up 2 of these today. I don't know. But in order to make one of these, we're going to need the turbine housings, which is iron, nether quartz, and cyanite. So cyanite I know is craftable right now. It didn't used to be, but you can take yellorium plus sand to get cyanite, which is kind of cool. So if you wanted to, you can make a big reactor turbine right off the bat. So yeah, that's kind of like the basic building block. The turbine housing is kind of like how the big reactor has to have the housing around the outside edges. Same deal with the turbines. Okay, so we also need a turbine controller, same like the big reactor. It has to have a controller. This is how you turn it on and off, things like that. Turbine power port is how you get the power out of it. I guess I should show you the recipes for these. So it's turbine housing plus redstone for the power port, very inexpensive. Turbine controller, it costs a diamond plus 2 plutonium plus some turbine housing. Not too expensive, but you do need the plutonium and a diamond. We have the turbine fluid port. This is how you get steam into the turbine and water out of the turbine. So piston, some iron, more turbine housings, and then the turbine rotor bearing. This is also important. You have to have one of these per turbine. This is similar to like how the big reactor over here has these reactor control rods. So you have the yellorium fuel rod that goes up the center, and at the very top you have one of these reactor control rods. It's kind of the same thing with the turbine rotor bearing, except that has to be at the top of the turbine rotor shafts. Then we're also going to need some turbine rotor blades and turbine glass. You can also use turbine housing instead of glass, but the glass makes it look cool, so that's what we're going to use. So I need to relog. Apparently these chunks decided not to load in today for whatever reason. Let's do F3A maybe? Yeah, no, I got to relog, or actually I guess we can warp away and then come back. Nexus. And we will go right here back to my book. Hopefully these chunks load in this time. It should. We got load chunks. Okay, very good, very good. Now those chunks aren't loading over there. Oh, okay, they're slowly loading in, slowly loading in. So the turbine setup that I want to do is going to be a 7x7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, we're going to do a 7x7 design. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Apparently my internet's acting up right now. Everything's going kind of laggy, but we'll make do. So it's 7x7, and then we're going to go up 17. So I need to place these blocks. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Right. So this is going to be a pretty tall unit. These turbines are restricted. I think you can only make them 16 long if we want to lay them on their side. So that's kind of a limitation, but you can also make them up to 32 blocks tall. So even though you can only make them 16 blocks wide or whatever, yeah, you can turn them on their side basically and make them taller than they are lengthwise. So this is the way we're going to do it. So let me go ahead and get this all laid out. We're going to do the edges with this turbine housing. I'm going to put turbine glass on the sides, and we will be right back. Alright guys, so I got the turbine set up here, and we have the turbine housing around it. We got the turbine glass in the center. The next step is we need to put in a few different pieces. So in the very center here, we need to put in the turbine rotor bearing. You can either put this on the top or you can put it on the bottom. Doesn't really matter which side you put it on, but it will make a difference for aesthetics. So this turbine bearing, you have to connect these turbine rotor shafts to, and you want to have them extending from one side all the way to the other, the opposite side of where the turbine bearing is. I do believe it has to go all the way down. Oops, let's get this back. Gimme. And there we go. Okay, so that's a full 15 blocks worth. Right. So, this turbine rotor shaft is going to have blades on it. The blades are what the steam makes spin and what provides all the rotational energy. So on the bottom side here, we need to put metal blocks around. The metal blocks are what actually are going to make the power. Everywhere that isn't a metal block will have to have these turbine blades, the turbine rotor blades on there. I'm not going to put these all in until we get those metal blocks going. There's a few different types of metal blocks you can use. The best ones that you're going to want to use, though, is Enderium. I believe they give like a 2% bonus over the other ones. They produce more power than you'd be able to get. So we're going to need a few blocks of Enderium. We currently have 52 pieces of Enderium, which isn't going to give us very many blocks. That'll give us 5. So this won't be a perfect setup. In fact, I think you can mix and match these blocks. Let's go ahead and just try this. Just for demonstration purposes, we don't need that many. In fact, I think we need a total of like 36, 37 blocks, something like that. So we will mix and match these for now, and I will swap them out as soon as I get a little bit more Enderium. But yeah, the general idea is that you make a ring around the rotor shaft like so. Yep, just those 8 blocks right like that. And then you can do this as many times as you want. After a certain point though, it's kind of like diminishing returns. Your turbine won't be able to spin fast enough. Each one of these blocks kind of slows it down. So let's see, we need another ring here. And I believe I'm going to just do 4 additional blocks. Let's get that out of here. So we'll do that, that, and that one. Okay. So, yeah, there's 4 full rings and then 4 additional blocks. So the rest of this will be these rotor blades. So I'm going to go ahead and use my builder's wand here to make quick work out of this. And let's see if I can get to a spot here where I won't get trapped in here. Like that, and then we will place the other 2 right here and right there, and I'll use my builder's wand on my way out of this place. Okay, so yeah, this will be the full turbine with 80 fans. I believe that's the maximum amount you can have in a turbine, really, is 80 blades. There's like a certain amount of... what do you call it? There's a certain amount of steam that each blade can handle. I can't remember what it is. I think it's like 32 millibuckets or something. But anyway, there's a total of 2,000 millibuckets worth of steam that you can pump into one of these things. And 80 is like the maximum that it'll handle. So you don't really want to go higher than that. Okay, so we got a few additional pieces here. Let's start popping out some blocks and getting these things in here. So we have a turbine controller. I like sticking this guy in the center. It doesn't really matter just as long as it's in there somewhere. We got a fluid port here, so I'll stick that guy, and then we also have the power port. Okay, so with those blocks in there, the multi-block structure recreates itself. So we have a port here. This can either accept steam or it can output water. If you have a closed system, otherwise you have to keep pumping water into it. I think for now we're just going to leave it on steam. We might turn this into a closed system later, depending on the amount of turbines we have set up. Whoops. Get out of there. Oh no, that's the power port. This is the controller. So the controller is got the same kind of an interface as like the reactor does over there. This is the rotor speed. You want your rotors either at 900 or 1800 RPMs. With this setup right like this, you got the 36 blocks in there and the 80 blades. 2,000 millibuckets a tick will make this go at about exactly 1,800 RPM, or just like 1 or 2 RPM less than that. So yeah, this is perfectly fine the way this is set up. So we got a few different options here. As we accept steam and the blades rotate, we're going to create water. The water you can either void, or you can void all the excess once this fills up, or you can say don't output any water. But if you have it on set on this one, once this fills up with water, it's not going to do anything else until that water is removed. So you only want to use this if you're doing a closed system. For now, we're just going to vent all exhaust, and we'll just keep pumping water into our big reactor. Okay, so is there anything else here that I need to do, or am I missing? I don't think so. We do need to make ourselves a tesseract, so we can move steam from the big reactor to over here. In fact, we're going to have to make 2 tesseracts. One for that side, one for this side. Yeah, I think that's pretty much about it. So I need to make myself a fluid port for the big reactor. Let's see, reactor coolant, I think is what it's called, this guy. So we need to make a coolant port. This is where we put the water into the reactor. And once we do that, the reactor stops making power and it starts making steam. That is the one difference between the active and the passively cooled reactors. This little block right here. So I need to get a way to have water pumped into this thing. We could use an aqueous accumulator. We could use this transfer node liquids, whatever we want. Probably I'm going to use this guy with a bunch of like the world interaction upgrades so it can move a bunch of water at once. I was testing out the aqueous accumulators and I couldn't find a way to make one of them pump out a significant amount of water. I mean, it pumps out decent, but this will use a whole lot of water. So the more turbines you make, the more steam this thing is going to produce, which means the more water it needs, and eventually you're just going to be pumping it so much it's kind of ridiculous. So at that point, it almost makes more sense to pump the water out of the turbine back into the reactor and just not worry about constantly pumping water into this guy. Okay, so I got a few more things to do. Let me get the the coolant port put in here. I'm going to get the transfer node hooked up and all of that, the speed upgrades, and we will see if we can turn this guy on for the first time. So yeah, let me get to that and we will be right back. Oh my goodness, guys. So I've been doing a lot of stuff off camera here. So instead of converting this guy right here to a coolant reactor, I've made another one over here. So we've made its twin. So yeah, we got this pretty much ready to go. It's almost there, not quite. So I found out you can save coolant, or I guess the stuff that we're cooling the inside of the reactor with, by putting it in this kind of a fashion. It only has to be between the control rod and the casing. Like the blocks here, this doesn't matter if there's any of the fluid inside. Same for all those corners. So you can save on a lot of resources by doing this. And in fact, I think you might even be saving more if you just put like the liquid ender right in the center, let it spread out, and then remove all the blocks, and that'll just flow straight down. I've filled it all in just so we don't see flowing liquid. But yeah, that's the way this is going right now. So let's go ahead and get this thing hooked up. In the center, I do have liquid cryothium. Alright, so I think we're pretty much ready to go here. Let's just go ahead and let this stuff rip. But I did want to show you guys that you can save on that. You don't, oops, am I gonna, no I didn't. Yeah, you don't exactly have to fill in every single block full of this stuff, so you can save a little bit on your ender pearls. The only thing is it doesn't look as nice when it's like this, right? So yeah, that's the biggest concern. If you want it to look nice, you'll see like these air pockets in here, but whatever. I think both of these reactors are going to be torn down, and we're going to make something a little bit bigger with the combined resources of both of these, just to provide steam power. So as far as this reactor goes, let's go over the parts that we have here. So we have the reactor controller. It's the same thing like we got over there. We have a reactor coolant port here. Let's go and remove this tesseract. So yeah, there's a reactor coolant port. Whoops. You can flip it from inlet to outlet just by right-clicking with a wrench. We want to extract steam on this side, so we're putting a tesseract here. This tesseract is set to a steam channel, send only, and I do have a private, so only I can access this tesseract. Okay, over here, this is set up exactly the same as the other one. We have the cyanide out, the yellorium in, and then we have another coolant port here. So I have a transfer node liquid pulling up on an infinite spring of water. I have a stack of world interaction upgrades in here, so this should be filling this thing up full of water non-stop. I think that's pretty much all there is to go over. The next step is we need to cap this off, so let's go ahead and do that. I figured it'd probably be better to make a new reactor instead of shutting down my entire power supply to convert that over. I don't know, maybe it wasn't a good idea, but I think we're going to use all these resources anyway. We got plenty of the stuff. Okay, so you can see it did turn into a solid reactor. Click on it, we get no error messages. So we look over here, yeah, we now see that there is a coolant section. So it says we got full water, we have no steam because we have not turned this on. So that's the last thing I do. Let's go ahead. Oh no, you know what? We got to give it fuel. I have not filled up this guy. Let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so that should be piping in yellorium, I think. Let's just look over here. Oh, that's going to take a while, isn't it? All right, so let's do it the faster way. Get a stack, and I'll just put a stack in there. Get a stack, put another stack in there. Oh, that's taking a lot to get this full up, huh? We done? Okay, there we go. Now it's full, now it's full. Let's put this little fella back there. Okay, so yeah, I'm using caches instead of barrels because I had those. Alright, so this thing's full. We are all good. Notice here this has an energy buffer, but this will not fill up. The only thing this reactor is going to do is make steam, so let's go ahead and turn it on. So yeah, now it's using a bit of water to make steam. That steam is coming over here. Is this guy not on? Oh, you know what? We still have to activate this turbine. So what we're going to do, we're going to deactivate the coils. This will allow the turbine to spin up faster. So yeah, now we can watch this thing actually do something. Those blades are going to start spinning up. They're going to get faster and faster and faster. These hearts just started happening within the last day or so. I've been checking this out in Creative World. I don't know if that has some significance to the mod author or whatever. But yeah, normally when I tested this before, those don't appear, so that's something special right now. Okay, so yeah, this is going to take a little bit of time. We are not making enough steam, it would appear. Let's go check out what's going on over here. Yep, we are not keeping up on the water. Okay, that's a problem. I need to go make more. I don't think we need speed upgrades. I think we just need, well, we might need speed upgrades actually. Okay, so yeah, let me go ahead and make more of those upgrades so we can get water in here faster. Yep, let me do that and we'll be back, guys. We'll let this thing continue to spin up. Okay, so I ended up putting in a little over a stack of speed upgrades. I made more than I wanted to, but yeah, that's what we got going on here. So it's a stack of world interaction upgrades and then a little over almost a stack and a half of speed upgrades. So that seems to be all we need to do to keep this reactor currently full of water. You can see here that it's currently producing 2,000 millibuckets per tick. That's because our turbine over here, which it looks like it's spinning really fast now, is using 2,000 millibuckets a tick. This is probably only going around 500 RPM. Yeah, 530 RPM right now. So it's going to take a little bit of time. So we can see right here that it's producing no RF a tick. That's because our coils are disengaged. If we turn the coils on, you can see that it is making about 800 RF a tick right now. But the problem is if you have those coils engaged, the speed up takes forever. So we will go ahead and disengage those coils until this reaches approximately 1800 RPM, which we should be able to make no problem with this setup. Yeah, 1800 RPM should be good. Yeah, we'll go ahead and reach 1800, we'll activate the coils, and we'll be back, guys. Alright guys, so I've taken some time here, been a lot of time actually. I've been making up all this Enderium blocks. I've swapped out the iron, and we are now way past where we're supposed to be. Okay, so we're supposed to be at around 1800 RPM, we're now at 1900 RPM. I let it go a little too fast, but yeah, as you can see it's dropping. We can actually turn off the steam and let this thing drop down even faster. It says if you go faster than 1800 RPM for too long, your turbine will fail catastrophically. I've actually accidentally let these things go up to like 4000 RPM and I haven't seen anything happen. So I don't know if that's actually a thing where it will fail catastrophically. Let's get the steam back on there. There we go. So now we're at about 1800 RPM. It is climbing a little bit, strangely enough, because I tried this in creative mode, and it seemed like if we had all of that stuff in there, all in Derium, that this would hang out at about 1800. Maybe it'll go up a little bit faster. It's not going up like super fast. We might go up to like maybe 1850 or something. Who knows? But yeah, we're making a decent amount of power here. Look at this. We're making 23,500 RF a tick. It is slowly going up as this goes up. But yeah, we kind of want to be in this green zone at around 1800 RPM, like the tooltip says. So one thing to note about this, we're making 23,000 RF a tick right now. So we come back over here to this reactor and let's look. So we are making, let's turn off NEI. We're making all the steam we need. It is cooling down a little bit. I have turned all the control rods down to 90%. I just did that before I started this clip right now, so it might cool down even more. We're not using very much fuel per tick right now. The reactivity's actually gone up. I think it was about 200 before when the casing heat and the core heat were all the way maxed. They were pegged on this thing. But yeah, so we're using not very much fuel and we're making 23,000 RF a tick. So since we see that this is at 90%, if we bump it up, I would say another notch, so it's at 80%, we might even be able to get another reactor just like that. But yeah, this is very fuel efficient, and that was one thing I was concerned about, was having these turbines going and the reactor going all the time. We'd be using a whole lot of fuel, but if we are using that little amount for this much power, yeah, I think that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, look at that. So it's still decreasing on the heat, but we're still keeping up on the steam, which is awesome. I really, really like that. So what I need to do is I need to build a few more of these reactors. I need to get some more of the Enderium. By the way, I had this as iron, and I didn't realize that if you have iron in there, this thing spins a lot faster. Like, we have this at 2,000 millibuckets a tick. That's the maximum with the Enderium blocks. And it hangs at around 1,800. If that was iron in there, this thing was climbing, and it'd probably go, oh, I don't even know, like 2,500 RPM or something. So you'd have to decrease the flow going into here. But yeah, with the Enderium, that makes the most amount of RF per tick per steam or whatever. So I think that is probably going to be the best thing, other than these crazy blocks called Ludicrate. Ludicrate? What is it? L-U-D, this stuff right here. Ludicrate block. So to make a block of this, you need another star. Or you can make it this recipe here with 2 Enderium blocks, no nether star. So this might be the way we go. I mean, we've already made the Enderium blocks, so we could just pretty much upgrade to the Ludicrate without really wasting anything, which is pretty cool. So that'll be like the next step once we get a few of these turbines going. But yeah, that is really, really cool. So let's actually look at this. It's cooled down a bit. Are we still making enough steam? Yeah, this is one of those things that I liked more about this reactor, because once you build it, you don't really got to think about it. It'll turn on, it'll produce power, it'll turn off. With this one, you kind of want to make sure you're making enough steam, you're not using too much fuel, your turbine isn't going too fast. If it is, you need to turn down the flow or whatever. But yeah, I think we're going to be good here. So like I said, I'm going to build a few more of these things. We're going to try and figure out how these are going to be positioned in the base. I'm almost thinking, well, I was thinking we would take these reactors here and make like a flat floor out of them or something. And then we would take these guys and raise them up so they're kind of off the ground a bit. Yeah, there's going to be a little bit of thought that goes into this. I don't want to just kind of lay them here and then put a roof over it and just have it all enclosed. I want these to be visible from around the place. So yeah, we're going to be looking at what we're going to do with those. But I would like to get a couple of these, well, a few of them built anyway, before we start looking at that. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this episode of Feed the Beast Infinity. I hope you guys did like it. Let me know what you guys thought about these domes. If you think that's a good idea or a bad idea. I really like the theme, that we're staying with the same themes for things. We're not like doing a whole bunch of wildly different things, although some people might say, it's too much the same. So let me know what you guys think. Also, if you have any ideas for this bridge, let me know about that. Some people suggested, or at least a person suggested, that we do like a clear glass floor, like the mana glass or something. So it looks kind of like the light bridge or whatever from Halo 1. I thought that was kind of a neat idea. Yeah, there's a few other things that we can do around here. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. But yep, that's it for today. Thank you guys for watching. Remember to leave a like on this episode if you did like it. Leave that like, guys. Come on, know you want to. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye. Keep in the face.